So why the DOT? This is the front page of the DOT. Why this document? Why is the Dictionary of Occupational Titles so important? Why does Social Security Administration continue to use this document that hasn't been rewritten or updated since 1991? Hello, I'm Marilyn Stroud, CEO and owner of Stroud Vocational Expert Services. I'm here today to help you along the path towards becoming and growing as a vocational expert for the Social Security Administration. Thanks for joining me. For those of you who have already subscribed or are watching this on a weekly basis, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. And for those of you who haven't, please join us and join in our conversation. Not everything that I say is set in stone, and I'd love to learn together and learn from you. So if you have any feedback or comments along the way, please enter those below. Today's topic is the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. This document is the overall baseline reference for the Social Security Administration vocational expert. Whether you use the DOT, Dictionary of Occupational Titles, in hard copy format, well, good luck with that because it is out of print. It is very expensive. I just checked on Amazon, close to $900. And if you want to buy one, but it's going to be pricey, of course, and extremely owned and probably well used. Or whether you use the same data contained within the DOT via an electronic source of information, such as a software program from SkillTran known as the Job Browser Pro or the OccuBrowser. I highly recommend the Job Browser Pro. It is the greatest tool for vocational experts and peers in our field. But it all really comes back to understanding what the DOT and why the SSA uses this as a source reference for occupational information and data. The why it comes down to is verifiable information. The DOT was recognized as a source of verifiable information and used over many, many years as part of the Social Security Administration disability determination process. In the Vocational Expert Handbook, there is a direct reference that talks about the DOT, titles, and the testimony of a vocational expert. According to SSR 4P, which this is found under the SSA.gov references, the SSA references the DOT as the overall baseline of information. However, the Social Security message also goes on to allow the fact that the DOT contains information about most, but really not all, the occupations that currently exist in the national economy. And that's the key, the national economy. In fact, the growth of occupations surrounding the internet as a data point has greatly outpaced the actual data that is contained within the DOT. And a lot of the terminology really doesn't translate between 1991 and the year 2020. There are allowances for that, however, as the SSA recognizes that the DOT doesn't meet all those. So that is one reason you need to be prepared as a vocational expert to list the why, according to your professional opinion. Why? You strayed from the DOT as a source material. And this really means that you just need to be prepared to defend your answer. If it's in accordance with the DOT, that's going to answer everything that's already set in place as far as the regulations of the Social Security Administration in the decision-making process. However, if you stray from the DOT and you insert professional experience or your opinion as a supporting data point, then you need to list the resource that you use to come up to support your testimony. This still doesn't really enter the why for the DOT as a source of data. And for that reason, we have to go back into the Code of Federal Regulations, particularly in the 404.1566 and 416.966. This is also under SSA.gov. However, each of these links introduces the overall publications that you can rely on, starting first and foremost with the Dictionary of Occupational Titles. Each also goes on to introduce county business patterns, census reports, occupational analysis, and then the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which I have a copy right here. But not least, using you, the vocational expert, and then other specialists who can actually present applicable testimony along the way. But the reason why we still use the DOT is because it is the best enforced on today's date. That doesn't mean it's right or that it doesn't mean it's going on forever. In fact, occupational information constantly changes, and SSA is actually in the process of developing the Occupational Requirements Survey, or ORS, better known, which rumor is that it will replace the DOT as that primary source of occupational information throughout the disability process. The goodness of the new ORS is going to be that it will be a collection of occupational data from various sources that will go into a platform, and it will broadly look at and broadly describe occupations across the national economy, and then introduce other inputs. However, at this point, the DOT is our main source of reference. You'll see these in future iterations of Stroud Academy through our discussions covering organizations such as the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Occupational Requirement Survey, ONET, and the Crosswalk Military Occupations, and then data from the Occupational Outlook Handbook. This will also expand beyond the DOT information and include descriptions of basic mental and cognitive requirements, and then ensure that overall surveys get completed on a continual basis so that we don't run into 24 years of static data. You can find out the plan by going to the https www.ssa.gov/disability. So, short answer to a long question, do you have to learn the DOT? Yes. But the caveat to that answer is you need to understand that the DOT is going to change. However, it is still enforced today and is the first and foremost basis of your testimony when responding to the hypotheticals. We will continue this series to help you get to the next level of applying the DOT or whatever iteration follows next week. If you're ready now, or if you don't want to wait, you can get into the VELaunchpad right now. Get everything I'm going to go over and much more in-depth information on your schedule and earn pre-approved CEU credits along the way. Check us out at stroudve.talentlms.com or in the link in the episode notes. Remember, we will be here every week, so don't miss it. Subscribe now or hit the bell for notifications. Let's start learning together.